At the beginning of the movie, we are introduced to a psychologist named Norman. The man crosses the endless ocean by helicopter and approaches the point where the plane crash supposedly took place. This is the version of events that the authorities decided to voice. On the ship, the uncomprehending hero meets the astrophysicist Theodore. Before he is locked in the cabin, Norman also sees the biologist Elizabeth. A man named Harold tells the hero that they actually came here because of a spaceship. During the presentation, the intelligence member tells them that the ship is under a large layer of coral. This puzzles Elizabeth, and she explains that in such a case, the ship should have fallen about 300 years ago. However, it is this fact that has caused the authorities to speculate that the ship could have belonged to an extraterrestrial civilization. Sonar continues to pick up a faint noise, making it clear that some sort of instrument is still working on the ship. Astrophysicist Theodore is amazed by the visible part of the ship and argues that they need to go down. This causes displeasure and skepticism in mathematician Harry Adams. Norman privately confesses to the man his involvement in what is happening. A few years ago, it was the hero who wrote an article proposing an astrophysicist, a mathematician, a biologist, and a psychologist for the alien first contact team. Prior to a 1,000-pound dive, all expedition members undergo a medical interview to establish risk factors. The next part of the preparation is communication with the instructor. The man tells them that they will all need to undergo training to be comfortable at this depth. The instructor warns that, after the dive, it will take several days to decompress, and immediate ascent is not possible because of the risk of creating pressures incompatible with life. During the descent, Norman tries to establish contact between Theodore and Harry, but the men behave more aggressively from stress. Finally, the bathyscaphe reaches the open part of the alien ship. Barnes informs them that the crew will be living in a living module nearby, which is designed specifically for an underwater expedition. After arriving and being treated with helium, a group of scientists watches special robots open a door on the alien ship. Harry suggests that this is a bad decision, because immortal beings and life forms have no concept of morality, and it would be extremely rash to make contact with them. The team changes into special spacesuits and begins exploring the ship. Elizabeth enjoys watching the corals. The girl reasoned that the bite of any creature living at such a depth is maximally dangerous. The team reaches the airlock without incident. Suddenly, the door leading into the ship opens by itself. The ship is equipped with a large amount of lead against radiation. Elizabeth notices boot prints on the floor and realizes that someone has been here before them. There is only half an hour of air left, so the team decides to split up. Norman leaves with the girl and tells her why they are here. Talking, the heroes step on a strange slab that lifts them up. Meanwhile, Theodore notices an inscription in English on the ship. Elizabeth finds a dead man. In the hands of this man, Norman sees a candy wrapper, and then the girl assumes that the spaceship belongs to the Americans. Elizabeth finds the ship's logbook, the last entry in which is dated 43. Pressing the button to locate the ship, the heroes watch as it is sucked into a black hole. The hero contacts another group who have also found something interesting. Barnes and the others have discovered a perfect golden sphere. The man suggests that it may be some kind of Trojan horse of another civilization, but the rest of the team asks him not to jump to conclusions. Norman is concerned that the surface of the ball reflects everything but themselves. Back at their corner of life, the crew discusses what they have seen. Theodore suggests that the ship has hit a black hole, causing it to be transported from its present to the past. Outside, they receive information about an approaching storm that requires them to prepare for decompression. Theodore resists the idea, as he wants to study the ship and the orb. In the evening, Harry discusses with Norman that the sphere they saw is alive. The mathematician is convinced that the sphere chooses what to reflect and what not to reflect, quite like an intelligent being. Harry proposes an even more frightening theory. If, in the future, the ship's whereabouts are still unknown, it means their expedition didn't pass on that information. Harry admits that he would like to get inside the sphere. During the night, Norman is awakened by a noise and watches with Barnes as the mathematician approaches the sphere. Suddenly, Harry disappears from the videotape. The hero decides to find him on his own. As Norman approaches the sphere, Harry appears next to him in an unconscious state. Barnes realizes that their module has been left on autonomous power since the rescue bathyscaphe has floated away for unknown reasons. Fletcher, carrying records to the small rescue boat, is attacked by poisonous jellyfish. The girl is brought aboard. Removing the jellyfish, Elizabeth confesses to the hero that these are not ordinary creatures, and she has not been able to establish their species. Meanwhile, Theodore sees that Harry has finally come to his senses and decides to take a shower. Barnes has a fight with Norman as it is revealed that Elizabeth, his former patient, has significant mental health issues. Theodore suspects that Harry is hiding something from them and is acting strangely. Computer problems begin on the ship. Theodore tries to reboot the device, but it doesn't help. He suggests that saturation due to the helium is to blame. Harry, however, disagrees. The mathematician sees the set of numbers as some kind of combination, an algorithm. The spherical keyboard manages to convert the numbers into letters, and the first message appears on the screen. The alien calls itself Jerry and communicates in a somewhat strange, childlike manner. The creature says it is happy. This worries Norman. He worries that because of the long solitude and then contact with emotional beings, Jerry may not be able to stand it and go crazy. While on duty a while later, the hero hears a strange sound. When Norman and Elizabeth survey the area outside, they find Edmonds. The girl turns out to look like a rag doll. Barnes sees a huge creature on the sonar and asks the heroes to get back inside soon. However, as soon as Norman and his companion climb aboard the life-saving boat, the monster disappears. The heroes try to discuss what is happening, but Jerry overhears them and insists that he wants to talk right now. The alien shuts down after realizing he is feared, and at the same moment the ship is attacked by a huge squid. A massive leak starts in the control room. During the general commotion, Harry sleeps in his room. Theodore tries to equalize the pressure but faints. Norman and Elizabeth run into the control room and avert disaster. Barnes asks to pull the green lever, even though it might cause a fire. Elizabeth begs the hero not to do this. Norman listens to the captain and the squid disappears, but trouble begins in the communications room. Jerry writes that he will destroy all the crew members. Theodore tries unsuccessfully to wake Harry up to take him to safety. Barnes, who went to get fire extinguishers, is clamped by an automatically closing door. Norman reads Jerry's message and passes out, but is saved by Theodore. The astrophysicist himself is devoured by a raging fire. Afterwards, the fire magically disappears. Norman tries to find out from Jerry who did it. The alien is not upset about the Barnes incident, but asks for Theodore back, since he was fun. Suddenly, he asks not to be called Jerry and admits that he himself made the giant squid that attacked the ship. Meanwhile, Harry is still reading 2,000 Leagues Under the Sea when Norman comes to see him. The hero is concerned that the mathematician is strangely indifferent to everything. Norman shares his suspicions with Elizabeth. The hero goes to the underwater rescue boat and reboots it to prevent it from surfacing. Suddenly, bubbles start coming out of Norman's spacesuit. Through the cameras, this is observed by Harry. The mathematician asks the hero to calm down and says that the hatch is right in front of him. Trying to climb up, Norman grabs a creepy sea snake. Harry gets the hero to the ship and reveals that Elizabeth has sailed off to the big ship without warning anyone. The girl says she wants to get food. However, Norman is skeptical because there is plenty of it on board. Elizabeth continues to claim that there was no food and suggests that Harry hid it. Norman does not believe the girl and criticizes her, since because of her absence he himself almost lost his life. The hero asks if Elizabeth was inside the sphere, but she ignores him. Suddenly, Norman sees that everything around him is filled with Harry's books. The hero tries to talk to Jerry about his friend, who has become completely different. However, the alien again asks not to call him Jerry. Norman tries to understand where the error in the code could have occurred. The hero realizes that in fact it always wrote Harry there. Norman tells Elizabeth that the sphere made it possible for a mathematician to transform reality based on his thoughts. The hero's theory is that when Harry sleeps, he sees the squid he is so afraid of in his nightmare. Elizabeth offers to put the man to sleep with the help of drugs. The girl swears that she herself has not entered the sphere. Soon Norman is attacked by a sea snake, but Elizabeth rescues him, after which she locks him in the laboratory. The girl explains that the snakes and jellyfish are Norman's own fears and asks him to immerse himself in sleep. To convince him, Elizabeth fills the laboratory with water, in which the snakes appear. Norman decides to escape to the surface, and Elizabeth sees strange videos of the accusations. A threat from Harry appears on the screen that they will all lose their lives. Norman returns to the ship and sees Elizabeth crying. The hero talks to the girl and Harry, explaining that they have all been in the sphere and therefore materialize their own fears. Suddenly, a signal comes in to trigger the minds. It turns out that it was Elizabeth who accidentally activated them with her thoughts. In a hurry, the heroes put on costumes and run to the life raft. Suddenly, however, the entire team finds themselves inside the ship, with minds all around them. Running around in circles, Norman guesses that they are actually sitting in the right place, but they see hallucinations. The hero asks Harry to believe that everything around is a mirage and escape is possible. The team manages to swim away to a more or less safe distance, after which they surface. Being in the decompression chamber, the heroes think about what to do. Harry is sure that they still have the power in them, and with its help everything can be forgotten. The sphere flies into space, and the heroes become the same as before the expedition, having forgotten everything. This is the end of the movie. Thank you all for watching this video to the end. Give this video a like. Write in the comments what you think about this movie, and see you in new videos.